16 wins in a row.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Steve O, and we became very good friends after we finished playing, and he finished a lot earlier than I did. And he came to India in 2001. He had beaten everywhere around the world, whether it's England in England, South Africa in South Africa, Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka. His only place he hadn't won was India. And he termed it as the final frontier when he came here for those 3 test matches. And I love the way he went about his job, because captaining Australia and winning for Australia meant so much to him. And I learned a lot from him during that period. Although I was competing and trying to beat him and trying to win the series, I learned what a champion possesses and what it takes to be a champion. They had a great side, probably the best side I've seen in the last 40 years. You see cricket nowadays, and when you see the Australian team of the year in the 2000, maybe from 1996 to 2007, 2008, it was just brilliance all over. There's no weakness at any stage, at any position in that squad. And I remember him coming to India with the final frontier, and they had this huge characteristics or way of playing games. They believe that if you bring the captain down, you bring the team down. And I think that's the way they operated, and it was something which I had never experienced before, because I had just captained a couple of series before that, and the way the other captains went about the job was like chalk and cheese from the way Steve Waugh went about his job. They beat us in Mumbai, the first test, on a turning pitch where the ball was spinning, and Adam Gilchrist played an absolutely unbelievable knock at Mumbai. And then we came to Calcutta for the second test match. And as soon as we got beaten in the first test, Steve Waugh's feet on the accelerator got stronger, because he knew that he's just one test match away from achieving everything. And I remember going to Delhi. We were playing a warm-up game, and I wanted to get some batting practice because I could get much runs in Calcutta, in Bombay, and I was captain, and I had to come and play the test match in Calcutta in 3 days' time. So in India those days, the opposition captains had an opportunity to write columns in newspapers. It was not the digital world.
But the India
captain also had. I also had the opportunity to write, but the overseas captain would always get invited to write in the leading dailies, and he used that platform unbelievably well. There was only Sourav bashing going on in the entire country after that first test match loss. And how underprepared we were. The difference between two teams is so much that it's very hard to contain Australia, and we Indians are very, we look after our guests very well. That's in our culture. So whatever Steve said was like gospel. Obviously, he had the cricketing acumen. He had the performance under him to actually influence people. And I could see it that it was Australia all over. And I was playing for my position. I knew that if I would have lost that series, I may not have been captain for India again. And I remember going into the Kolkata test match, I was nervous. And I remember as I walked out of the dressing room just before the toss, I forgot my blue blazer. The blue blazer was still in the dressing room, and I could see Steve standing at the toss. I had to go back because I didn't want to be the captain without a blazer and the Australian blazer on. So I went back and came back, and I was delayed by 5 minutes. He just took me on. He said, you're captain of India and you don't be on time. The broadcasts are waiting, the people are waiting, and most importantly, I am waiting. So that was the discussion. So I listened to him, and I didn't know what to say because I was actually late. The toss happened, I lost the toss, he batted, and by the end of day 3, we were in a terrible position. We were down and out, they were ahead in the first innings, and I kept thinking that my captaincy career is over. As the test match progressed, we started getting back into the test match. I could see a different Steve Waugh, irritated, disturbed. As VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid put that partnership on, I also got a few runs in the second innings. And I could see them change. I could see the change in the eyes, that the pressure slowly getting onto them. And we went into the day 5 of the test in Calcutta. I declared a bit late. My father was so angry on me that I declared a bit late.
All of India was.
He was watching the game that evening, that morning at Eden Gardens. There were 100,000 people watching, and he sent me a note through one of the dressing room attendants. He quietly came because I was born here, so all of them knew me. And they brought me a small note and put it in my hand, and I saw it from my father saying that, are you going to declare, or this test match is going to be a draw? Everybody is criticizing you. So I was about to declare. Because Australia was so good, I took that extra bit of time that giving them 370 runs on day 5, they might just get it. And we would be 2 down in the series and the series over. So I took that little bit of time to declare, and I saw that note from my dad saying that, you have to declare, the entire stadium is criticizing you. So I took John separately. I said, John, you and me were deciding to declare 3 overs later. Let's declare now. Let's declare now and see what happens. The lunch happened. Just before tea, Harbhajan bowled a delivery. Steve flicked, and I was standing in backward short leg. I dropped him. Straight into my hands. One of the easiest chances, and it just popped up. He turned around and said, neither do you score runs, neither do you take catches, neither do you take catches. I'm convinced that you will not be captain anymore. And he just walks past me. So I was so disappointed I couldn't tell him anything because I knew Australia were 3 down. And if you would have taken Steve just before tea, they were 4 down. And new batsman after tea with the ball spinning. Ponting was not in the best of forms. He got ducks, quite a few ducks before that innings. So I said, what have I done? I went back to the dressing room and I was a little disappointed. We came back. First ball after tea, I was standing at backward short leg. Same ball, he flicked and I caught him. So he was out. And as he walked past me, I said, I think we'll win this test. And I think I'll go as captain in the next test. And he walked past me. Then obviously Sachin bowled some magnificent deliveries. He got 3 wickets and we went on to beat Australia in the test match at Eden. But what I saw during that period, during those 4 days, 5 days, that if you competed with them, if you were tough on them, they were vulnerable. Because they had this gung-ho attitude that we are good. They were tremendous. In every position they were tremendous. That bowling attack with McGrath, Gillespie, Vaughan was probably the best ever. And Lee and Kasparovich, they had an off-spinner. There was Mark Waugh, Steve Waugh, Hayden, Langai. One came after the other. And the best thing Harbhajan told me on the second day of the test, कहते sir, सबको तो out कर दिया, वो अभी Gilchrist आ रहा है batting करने. So number 7 was Adam Gilchrist. Adam Gilchrist at number 7 for Australia. And we found out at the end of the test that this was a vulnerable side if you put pressure on them. And then we went, I remember we finished the test match at 4 o'clock in Calcutta. We couldn't get out of the stadium till 9 in the evening. There were 100,000 people. There were fire, there were policemen. Policemen forgot about duty. They were watching cricket and it was fire all around at Eden Gardens. We couldn't leave the stadium. The flight got delayed by 3 hours, the Indian Airlines flight. And we went to Chennai. And then we made a conscious effort that we have to play them this way if we have to beat them. We cannot just sit back and let them dominate. Then we went to Chennai, we won the test, we won the toss, Sachin got 100, Lakshman got 100. And I remember Shane Warne coming to bat on day 4 with Australia under pressure. He got out handling the ball. He came out to bat and I was standing at long on because he used to be after my life as a bowler because he was worried that I'll hit him for 6s. So I asked him later when he finished, we both finished, and I said, Warnie, why did you abuse me so much? Now, why on a cricket field? He said, because I was worried that you'd hit me for a 6. Every time I would toss the ball, you would step out and hit me. So I had to counter so that you stay at your crease and keep playing and I keep getting you out. So I remember Shane Warne as he walked out to bat, I came and stood at sitting point. There was Dravid at first slip and there was Shiv Sundar Das at backward short leg. And we all started laughing at him. No word, nothing, just looked at him and laughed. So he played the first ball, he played the second ball, then he walked up to me and said, why are you laughing? So So I said, because it's only a matter of time, you'll get out. The ball's spinning, the ball's turning, and you know when Australians speak, how they speak. So as he went to the other end and he played a delivery of Harbhajan, it bounced and it was rolling back onto the stumps. And he caught it by his hand. And obviously he was given out handling the ball. And everybody started laughing even more. And as he walked past, Samit Digge was the keeper and he said, Shane, you also break under pressure. You're not pressure proof. And we realized that as the series progressed and as we keep putting pressure on them, they were a different team. And they went to England in 2005, Partho, and they were playing the Ashes. And England picked that up from us. Peterson, Flintoff, Vaughan, they just got after Australia and they won the Ashes as well. So it was a way of combating their aggressiveness to win cricket matches because they were just so good.
Amazing story.